Welcome in. Up till now we've been talking about environments. Today we're talking about characters. Today we're talking about how to draw the head. Alright, so the head is actually pretty decently complex, and I'm going to be breaking it up into smaller videos. So today we're actually just talking about the very first step of drawing the head. Like, if you want to, hey, I want to draw a face, I want to draw a head, what do I do? And you sit down, you open Photoshop, and you see a blank document. What do you do? So normally you'll be like, all right, let's just start drawing, a head, like, and hair, and eyes, and a nose, and a mouth, whatever, right? So to make it easy for you, you have to have a circle. You have to be able to have the whole head, which is technically the cranium, because you have the top of the head, you have the back, like the skull part, the rounded part, and then you have the jaw part that moves your mouth and everything else. So ultimately you have two different parts, and you've seen this everywhere before. You've seen this thing, with the, and then they cross hatch it. So you're like, well, what does that mean? It's like, and people explain it like it's a triangle and a circle and or whatever. So to super simplify it, to picture out the head, in order to make your everything not suck, you have to have perspective, right? We talked about perspective. So fundamentally, see it as a 3D object. Everything has to be seen in 3D. Now, I talked about another video where, if you have your ellipse tool, you have to see it like a hula hoop. You have to see this in 3D. You can't just see it like whatever like this is. You can't see it like a thin oval. You have to see it like a hole in the ground. We talked about that video about how to see things like an artist, how to see things with depth, like perspective, and that applies to the face, like more so than anything, because we see faces all the time as human beings, and we are exceptionally good at noticing if they are proportionate or not, if they're right or not, or if they look wonky. So the face is a tough place to start as a beginner, but that doesn't scare us because we think faces are beautiful and we want to capture them. So probably you're going to want to start with the face. Most everybody does, myself included. So first step, view it like it's a 3D object. And the easiest way to wrap your mind around 3D is perspective, and the easiest way to wrap your mind around perspective is a cube. So you have to be able to view the face like a cube, right? That was wrong. Like that. Okay, right? So you have to be able to picture your dude's smiling face right here, and then his ear is back here, and it comes down like so, right? Here's his little hair, right? Here's the back of his head. And it comes down like this. You're like, oh, look, a person, right? So that you fundamentally have to view it like it has, there's different sides to him. There's Z space, right? We talked about earlier, going back. So that's number one, right? But okay, great. I get that. I know that. Give me some juice. Give me a good something to sink my teeth into. It's like, okay, so you need to start with a circle, right? You need to be able to start with a circle. So instead of just trying to do this over and over and over and over and over and over, I ended up cheesing the game and made a fancy shortcut in order to get a perfect circle every time. And you already know what it is. It's a circle marquee tool. So if you just draw with your mouse or with your stylus, you can get anywhere from an oval. If you hold shift, it'll snap to a perfect circle, right? So that's easy. Done. Nice. I have a circle now. Press G for your paint bucket tool and tap it in. Press Control D to deselect, and you're like, well, but no, like I need to draw, like, unless you want to go like, really weird and try to like draw things in, negatives, and well, now I'm going to draw this and this is my face. Like, unless you're wanting to do that, that's not really going to work for you. So what do? That's a problem. I thought the same thing, but I also got really tired of, doing this all the time. And, after 50 different tries, ending up kind of sort of getting something that's good, which is a valuable skill. You need to be able to do this. Drawbox has you draw circles all the time to be able to get this skill. Like, that one's decent. This guy here, I could probably use that. But for the sake of time and for perfection, I wanted to find a quick way to make it perfect every time. So grab your circle marquee tool, drag it open, hold shift if you want. I usually end up elongating it because I go a little bit longer, narrower faces. But hold shift just for the sake of an example. Press G now. Here you go. Press Control D. And you have your circle, but what are you going to do? So open up your shortcuts by pressing Control, Alt, Shift, and K, right? And this is like your keyboards and shortcut. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to Select up here. And Select is really just this guy up here, right? And you can make a shortcut for anything you see up here. So what you're going to go is you're going to go to Contract, Modify, contract, and you have expand, right? And I put them on Control W and Control E. And what this does is that whenever you make a selection, whenever you have little marching ants, whenever you use your circular marquee tool or your rectangular marquee tool or your lasso tool or anything that uses those little marching ant dot things, you can make the selection of that bigger or smaller by a selection of pixels that you determine. So here we are, we have our little marching ants. I just selected it by pressing magic wand and clicking. And then now if we press Control W, which I did for contract, you can choose if you want to shrink in this by 2 pixels, right? Or, 100 pixels or whatever. And if you do that, let's just go back to 2, it'll bring it in. 2 pixels is nothing, but if you zoom in, it's like, oh look, it brought something in a little bit. And then if you press delete, and then deselect, you now have a perfect circle. Ta-da! Easy peasy. So in real time, what that looks like is you draw, you get your circle again here, press G, Control W, okay, delete, Control D, done. Perfect circle. Easy. And you can do that over, and all you have to do is hold shift when you're dragging it out, and you're back. Press B to go back to your brush, and you're on your way. Now, something to note is that the amount that you contract it by should be, you can do whatever you want, but it should be the pixel of your brush. So see how it's contract by 2 pixels? If I did contract by 10, the border of my head is going to be quite large. You see that? And then if I try to draw on here, it's going to look really wonky. You see that? So what I do is that I contract it by whatever pixel size my sketching brush is, which is almost always 2. So if I press B up here, brush, you see this, how it's at 2? I use this brush right here at 2. So that makes sure that everything kind of looks the same. And then if you want to get creative, you can, well actually, this is next step. So you do this on your layer. Ta-da, perfect circle. Make a new layer, and now your circle is all by itself. Easy, right? Because if you make everything on one layer, and then you start drawing in your framework, ultimately you're going to end up erasing some of this stuff. And because say you like it and you're like, oh, it's beautiful, it's perfect, now I need to get rid of this thing so it looks legit, right? Now you're erasing part of the head that you might want to keep. It's because when you create a head, for most 3/4 angles, for most angles, you're going to be keeping probably around the 9 o'clock to the 2 o'clock position. You're probably going to end up keeping LOL. You're probably going to be keeping this amount of your head. All of this is going to change because you're going to have, the side of your face, you're going to have your jawline, you're going to have your neck, but around here where it connects to the ear, and around here where it connects up to the forehead, and you have your frontal portion, frontal cranium, frontal cortex, science. This part up here, this is going to stay the same. And unless your dude's bald, like you're making ang and you have your arrow coming down here, you're going to cover this up with hair, but even then having that perfect circle is going to show you where you're going to, where you're going to put your hair on top of it. So this is about the part, this little part right here, this 9 to 2 is why you bother doing this in the first place. It takes half a second. You probably just press enter and not have to select it. Yeah. Delete. See, even faster. Ta-da! Takes half a second. So that's enough for this video. And you're like, what? More! I want to draw more of the face. It's like, yes, but that takes a lot of time and explaining that I don't have. That is better reserved for a different video. So this is enough for today. If you want to start a little bit ahead before next week's video, you can start looking up the Loomis Method, which is what this circle comes into. This circle right here symbolizes the side plane of the face. So again, you have to look at things in 3D. Okay, fine, last thing. So this side plane here, view this like a lime, right? You have your little dude over here. Well, now it looks like a nose. Here's this little dude. Anyway, so this is your lime, right? And you want to cut this lime. You need to cut the ends off of it. So if you cut this off right here, give me a thick line. There you go. Right? This is remember, you have to see everything in depth. Everything you have to see is in depth. So Like, you have to cut the plane off the side of your lime, off the side of your head. So if you put your hands next to your ear, put your hands over your ears, and then put them like right next to your ears, like where your sideburns are, you feel how that's flat? Move them up a little bit until you feel like the bump of your eyebrow, like on the very like corner of your eyebrow, that feel a little bump, right? That bump is a plane change, is the difference. Like, remember we were talking about our boxes when we were doing this, right? That bump is this wall right here. Here's you. You're like, whoa, and you're putting your hands up to your face, right? Your ears are over here. That bump you're feeling, that's this line. That's the 3D that you're trying to capture. So if you put your hands back towards your ear, this way, right? You're going back in perspective. You're touching your ears and you're over here. Moving forward, you feel that bump. Now put them over your eyebrows. Now your hands are over here. You see that? So that's the change right there. And this change right here is flat. It's flatter. So, and that's what this line symbolizes right here. It's the difference of the going backness, the Z spaceness of everything, like the perspective, the punchability of your computer. Remember? So I mean, you can draw a cube on top of this. You know, here we go. You see, like this. Now it's a circle, a cube, whatever. So this plane, this line, is the side plane of the face, and then this line here is the angle. Is like the tilt of your. This is your jawline, down here. So now you know, just by looking at this, again, you have to see things in 3D, it means that this guy is actually looking up like this. That's what this guy is right here. Actually, that's a little extreme. Looking like that. Because this line here is this line here, and that shows you the angle of it. So his jaw's going to be like that. See that? It's going to come down here like this. Boop. Now he's looking this way. Way over here. Okay? So, that's enough to sink your teeth into for now. We'll have... See, these things are so long, you have to have separate videos for it. So, starting off with, you have to see things in perspective. You have to see, you know, cheating is good. Let the computer work for you. Get a perfect circle. And I promise we'll talk more about the face, talk more about features, talk more about all of that in another video. But that was enough for today. Look up the Loomis Method if you want some more. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Josh, and we will be talking more about heads next week.